What if I told you there's a way to keep your kitchen completely free of that sticky, disgusting grease that clings to everything without having to scrub until your arm is exhausted? Well, people in the East discovered long ago simple secrets that completely transform kitchen cleaning. And look, it's not some expensive miracle product. They are smart habits that anyone can start using today, regardless of age or arm strength. You know that awful feeling of running your hand along the cupboard and feeling that sticky goo? Or when you look at the stove and it seems like there's a layer of grime that never completely comes off, no matter how much you clean. It ruins the pleasure of cooking and makes us spend hours and hours trying to get everything sparkling. But the truth is, you don't have to live like that. There's a much easier and smarter way to solve this problem once and for all. In this video, I'm going to show you 10 practical rules that will completely change your kitchen routine. These are methods tested for generations that prevent grease from sticking before it even gets stuck. And the best part is that you'll save time, save money on cleaning products, and still have an impeccable kitchen that you're proud to show off to any visitor. Stick with me until the end, because the last rule is the most powerful of all and may be exactly what's missing in your home. Tip 1. Clean immediately after each use. The first rule is also the most important of all, and I guarantee that if you follow just this one, your life will already change a lot. It's this: never ever leave cleaning for later. I know we get tired after cooking, especially after preparing that elaborate lunch for the family. The desire is to sit down, relax, and eat peacefully. But it's precisely at this moment that the biggest mistake everyone makes happens. When grease is fresh, just splattered, it's still soft and comes off with a wipe of a damp cloth. Simple as that. But if you let it cool, especially for a few hours or even the next day, the story changes completely. The grease hardens, sticks strongly, penetrates the pores of the material, and turns into that cement-like crust. Then you'll need strong products, you'll have to scrub hard, you'll tire your arm, and you also run the risk of scratching the surfaces. So the rule is clear. As soon as you finish cooking, before you even sit down to eat, take a damp cloth with a little neutral detergent and quickly wipe down the stove, the wall behind the stove, the countertop where you prepared the food, and anywhere else where oil might have splattered. It takes less than 2 minutes, believe me. 2 minutes that will save you half an hour of hard work later. And there's another very important benefit to all of this. When you clean immediately, you don't give the grease a chance to spread. Because what happens is that that little bit of grease on the stove evaporates with the heat, rises like an invisible wisp of smoke, and sticks to the upper cabinets, the ceiling, and the surrounding walls. Over time, the whole kitchen ends up with that sticky layer that seems like it will never come off. But if you clean it right away, you cut that cycle off at the root. Another important thing is to always have cleaning products close at hand. Keep a cloth exclusively for this purpose, a spray bottle with a mixture of water and neutral detergent, all neatly organized in a corner of the sink. That way you have no excuse for laziness because everything is there, ready to use. Turn this into an automatic habit, like brushing your teeth after eating. At first it seems annoying, but after a week of doing it, it becomes natural, and you don't even think about it anymore. You just do it. Tip 2. Preventive surface protection. Now let's talk about something that few people know, but that makes a huge difference. It's about protecting surfaces even before you start cooking. You know when you're going to fry something or make that stir fry that splatters oil everywhere? Well, if you prepare beforehand, cleaning up afterwards is 10 times easier. The idea is to create a temporary protective barrier. You can use paper towels, parchment paper, or even those stove protectors sold in hardware stores. Place them around the burner, on the back wall, and in the corners where you know oil tends to splatter. It seems silly, but this simple protection prevents grease from sticking directly to the surface. When you're finished cooking, just remove the paper and throw it away. there you go, the mess is gone too. Some people think this is a lot of work, but think about it. What's more work? Putting down a piece of paper before you start for about 30 seconds, or spending half an hour scrubbing away burnt-on grease stuck to the wall? The answer is obvious, isn't it? And there's another important detail. When you protect the surfaces, you're also protecting the material itself, because that heavy cleaning with steel, wool, and very strong products gradually wears everything down. The wall loses its shine, the tiles become dull, the paint peels. So you're preserving your kitchen too. Another smart way to protect yourself is to use those splash guards when you're frying. You know those little screens that look like a large sieve? They let the steam escape but block oil splatters. It's a small investment that pays for itself because you save a lot on cleaning products and, most importantly, on time and effort. And for those who prefer a more permanent solution, there are tempered glass panels that are fixed behind the stove. They are beautiful, modern, easy to clean, and last a lifetime. But even without spending money on this, just with paper and a little planning, you can already achieve incredible results. The secret is always to think about prevention. It's much easier to avoid dirt than to clean after it's already stuck firmly. Tip 3. Proper use of exhaust, fans, and ventilation. This tip is crucial, and many people don't give it the attention it deserves. I'm talking about kitchen ventilation, and especially the extractor fan if you have one. The grease that lingers in the air is one of the biggest culprits in a dirty kitchen. You don't even see it, but it's there, floating, slowly sticking to everything. And over time, it becomes that sticky layer that covers cabinets, walls, ceiling, light fixtures, everything. If you have an extractor fan or range hood in your kitchen, turn it on whenever you're cooking. Always, without exception. Not just when you're frying, even when you're just making rice or reheating food, turn on the extractor fan. Because even that little bit of steam that rises from the pan carries microscopic particles of grease that will settle on surfaces. The extractor fan sucks all of that out or filters it before returning the air to the kitchen, depending on the model you have. Now, there's a very important detail that most people completely ignore. The extractor fan filter needs to be cleaned regularly. It's pointless to turn on the extractor fan if the filter is clogged with old grease. Instead of sucking up the dirt, it just makes noise and doesn't work properly. Ideally, you should clean the filter at least once a month, or even more often if you cook a lot. It's easy, you know. You remove the filter, soak it in hot water with detergent and a little baking soda, scrub it lightly with a small brush, and that's it. It'll be like new and work perfectly again. And if you don't have an extractor fan, no problem. You can create very efficient natural ventilation. Open the kitchen window whenever you're cooking. If you have a door to the backyard or outdoor area, leave it open as well. Create an airflow that will carry that greasy smoke outside. You can even use a regular fan pointed at the window to help push the dirty air out. Some people don't like opening the window because they think insects or dust will get in. But think about it, what's worse? A little dust that's easy to clean, or that sticky grease that clings to everything and just won't come off. Besides, you can use those protective screens on the windows that let air circulate but block insects. They're cheap, easy to install, and completely solve this problem. The most important thing is never to cook with everything closed, because then you're practically asking for grease to stick all over the kitchen. Now, before we continue with more amazing tips, I need to ask you something very quick. If you're enjoying this content and want to keep receiving practical tips like this that really work in everyday life, click the subscribe button below and activate the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any new videos. And feel free to comment below where you're watching from. I love knowing who's on the other side of the screen following these tips with me. Now let's continue. There's still a lot of good stuff ahead. Tip 4. Proper cooking temperature. This tip might seem strange at first, but once you understand the logic, it will make perfect sense. I'm talking about better controlling the temperature when you're cooking. Most people use much higher heat than necessary, and this causes much more mess and grease to spread throughout the kitchen. When you turn the heat too high, especially when frying, the oil gets so hot that it starts to smoke and splatter everywhere. That little puff of smoke rising from the pan is pure grease turning into steam and spreading throughout the entire kitchen. It rises, cools, condenses, and sticks to the ceiling, cabinets, walls, everything. And you don't even notice it happening because it's invisible. But after a few days, you run your hand over it and feel that gooey substance. The secret is to use medium heat most of the time. Good food doesn't need high heat. It needs the right temperature and patience. When you're frying something, for example, the oil should be hot enough to cook, but not so hot that it's smoking. How do you know when it's hot enough? There's a simple trick. Wet the tip of a toothpick or wooden fork in water and touch it to the oil. If bubbles form around it, the oil is at the right temperature. If nothing forms, it's still too cold. If it forms a lot of bubbles and makes a lot of noise, it's too hot. Another advantage of cooking at a more moderate temperature is that the food tastes better and is healthier. Oil that is too hot burns the food on the outside before it cooks on the inside, and also produces substances that are not good for your health. So you're winning in every way. Less mess, less work, better food, and preserved health. And there's one more important thing in this whole temperature thing. Never overfill the pan with oil. Many people fill the pan halfway with oil to fry, but this isn't necessary and only increases the mess. Use the minimum amount possible that's sufficient to cook the food. Less oil means less fat evaporating and less splattering. Some foods can be fried with just a spoonful of oil at the bottom of the pan, turning them occasionally. They get crispy just the same, but with much less mess. Tip 5. Smart choice of utensils and cookware. Now let's talk about something that makes a huge difference, but almost no one pays attention to. I'm talking about the utensils and pans you use every day. The right choice can drastically reduce the amount of grease that spreads throughout the kitchen, while the wrong choice turns everything into a war zone every time you cook. First, let's talk about pans. Pans with a thick bottom and good quality material distribute heat more evenly. This means you don't need to use such high heat, which reduces splattering and grease smoke. Furthermore, pans with a quality non-stick coating require much less oil for cooking. You can fry an egg with just a drop of oil. Imagine the difference that makes in the amount of grease in the air. Now, regarding the size of the pans, this is also very important. Always use the right size pan for the amount of food you are making. A pan that is too small will cause the food to overflow and splatter. A pan that is too large will cause the oil to splatter on the empty sides. Ideally, the food should occupy about 2/3 of the pan, leaving space but without overcrowding. It seems like a small detail, but in practice it makes all the difference. And what about those clear glass lids? They're your best friends in the fight against splattered grease. Whenever possible, cook with the lid on. This keeps the grease and steam inside the pan instead of letting them spread all over the kitchen. And because the lid is transparent, you can see what's happening inside without having to keep taking it off and putting it back on all the time. Every time you take the lid off, that cloud of greasy steam escapes, so keep it covered as much as possible. Another golden tip is to use silicone or wooden tongs and spatulas instead of metal ones. Metal utensils make noise and scratch pans, especially non-stick ones. And when you stir food vigorously using metal utensils, you greatly increase splattering. Silicone utensils, on the other hand, are smoother, glide better, and don't cause as much splattering. They are better for the pan and easier to clean as well. And there's a specific utensil that's wonderful for reducing mess. That Splato strainer I mentioned before. It's like a metal mesh lid that you place over the frying pan when you're frying. It lets the steam escape but traps the oil splatters. It costs very little, lasts for years, and prevents your kitchen from turning into a battlefield every time you fry something. If you don't have one of these, it's well worth getting one. Tip 6. Regular cleaning of forgotten areas. This tip is about those places we always forget to clean, but which accumulate grease without us realizing it. They're the blind spots in the kitchen, those corners and surfaces that aren't in our direct line of sight, so they gradually get dirty until one day we look and get a shock. The first place everyone forgets is the top of the cabinets. You know that little space between the cabinet and the ceiling? An absurd amount of grease mixed with dust accumulates there. It turns into a disgusting paste that's super difficult to remove. So the tip is to climb onto a stool very carefully so you don't fall and clean up there at least once a month. Use a damp cloth with a little detergent or that multi-purpose cleaner you have at home. You don't need to scrub hard, just wiping it with the cloth will remove most of the dirt. Another forgotten spot is behind the stove. Most stoves have a small space between them and the wall, and everything falls there. Spills of food, oil, crumbs, everything ends up in this kitchen black hole. And since we don't see it, it accumulates and even creates a bad smell. Ideally, you should clean it at least once a week. If your stove is one of those that can be moved away from the wall a little, do so and clean it thoroughly. If you can't move it, use a cloth tied to a broom handle to reach behind it. Cabinet handles also accumulate a lot of grease. We touch them with our hands every time we reach for something, and often our hands have a little bit of grease left over from cooking. Over time, this becomes a thick, sticky layer, so every time you clean the kitchen, wipe the handles down as well. It takes seconds, but makes a big difference. And we can't forget the inside of the cabinets, especially those near the stove. Airborne grease gets in through the gaps in the doors and sticks to the shelves, the inside sides, everywhere. So at least once a month, take everything out of a cabinet, clean it thoroughly, and put it all back. The following month, choose another cabinet and rotate them. This way you don't have to clean everything at once, which would be a lot of work, but you also don't let anything accumulate dirt for too long. The area around the sink also deserves special attention. That little corner between the sink and the wall, where the detergent and sponge are kept, tends to accumulate grease splatters and food scraps. Clean this area every day. It's quick, but prevents it from becoming a bigger problem. And don't forget the faucet, okay? The base of the faucet, where it fits into the sink, is a place where grease loves to hide. Wipe it down every time you wash the dishes. Tip 7. Effective cleaning techniques. Now let's talk about how to properly clean when grease has already stuck on. Because no matter how much we try to prevent it, there's always that time when you need to do a more thorough cleaning. But you don't have to suffer. There are techniques that make everything much easier and faster. And the best part is that you don't need expensive or special products. What really works are the simple combinations you already have at home. The first powerful technique is to use hot water. Most people clean with cold or lukewarm water, but very hot water melts the grease and makes removal much easier. So before you start scrubbing, pour some hot water onto the dirty surface, let it sit for a few minutes to soften the grease, and then wipe. The difference is enormous. Just be careful not to burn yourself. Use gloves if necessary. Another excellent technique is to make a paste with baking soda and a little water. This mixture is miraculous for removing encrusted grease. Spread the paste on the dirtiest areas, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and then scrub with a soft sponge. Baking soda has a slightly abrasive texture that helps loosen dirt, but it doesn't scratch surfaces like steel wool. It also neutralizes odors, so your kitchen will be clean and smelling fresh. For very stubborn stains, the kind that look like cement stuck on, you can use heated white vinegar. Heat the vinegar in the microwave for about 30 seconds, soak a cloth in it and place it on the stained area. Leave it there for a few minutes and the grease will soften. The vinegar is acidic and breaks down the grease structure, making removal much easier. Then just scrub lightly and you're done. And don't worry about the strong smell of vinegar. It evaporates quickly and leaves no odor. A tool that many people don't know is wonderful for kitchen cleaning is a plastic or silicone spatula. Before you start scrubbing with a cloth and cleaning product, use the spatula to scrape off the thick grease. You'll be surprised at how much dirt comes off with just this mechanical process. And since the spatula is made of plastic or silicone, it won't scratch anything. After you scrape off the bulk of it, cleaning with a cloth and cleaning product becomes much easier and faster. And here's a little known secret. For those stove grates that get terribly covered in burnt-on grease, the best method is to put them in a sturdy plastic bag with a little ammonia. Seal the bag well and leave it outside overnight because the smell is very strong. The next day, open the bag, rinse the grates, and they'll be sparkling clean without you needing to scrub them. The ammonia loosens all the grease on its own. Only use this method in a well-ventilated area and with care because ammonia is indeed strong. Tip 8. Organization that makes cleaning easier. Did you know that the way you organize your kitchen can make it much less dirty? That's right, organization isn't just about looking pretty. It plays a super important role in keeping everything clean. When things are well organized, you cook more efficiently, make less mess, and clean up faster. Let me explain how this works in practice. First thing, always keep the countertop clear. Many people leave a lot of things on the countertop, like spice jars, cutting boards, dish towels, utensils. But each object there is another thing that will get grease splatters. So put away everything you're not using at the moment. Leave only what is strictly necessary on the countertop. The fewer things exposed, the fewer surfaces to clean later. Another important thing is having a designated place for everything. Pots and pans in a specific cupboard, lids organized elsewhere, utensils in their own container or drawer. When everything has its place, you automatically grab what you need and put it back. This avoids the mess of leaving everything scattered around the kitchen. And an organized kitchen is much easier to clean because you don't have to keep taking things out and putting them back all the time. Invest in internal organizers for drawers and cabinets. Those drawer dividers, for example, keep utensils neatly separated and make it much easier to grab what you need. And when everything is organized like this, you can also clean the inside of the cabinets much faster. You don't need to take everything out and make a mess to clean. Just remove the organizer, wipe it down quickly and put it back. Also keep a cart or basket with the cleaning products you use every day. Keep this kit always within reach. It can be under the sink or in a corner of the kitchen. Inside it, put detergent, cleaning cloths, that multi-purpose spray, a sponge, everything you use in your routine. This way, you don't waste time looking for things every time you clean. Grab the kit, clean, put it back. Simple and practical. And a golden tip that many people don't follow is using protective liners in cabinets and drawers. These are the plastic or fabric liners you place on shelves. When something falls or dirt accumulates, you simply remove the liner, wash it, and put it back. Much easier than having to clean the wood or metal of the cabinet directly. And the liners also protect the furniture, making it last much longer. Before we continue, let me tell you something quick. If you want to have a clean, organized, and fragrant home without wasting hours of your day or spending money on expensive products, I've prepared a complete guide with easy homemade recipes, a weekly checklist, and professional tricks that really work. The link is in the first pinned comment. Now let's continue with the video. Tip 9. Preventive maintenance routine. This tip is about creating a routine, a little system that works automatically and prevents dirt from accumulating. Because the big problem isn't the grease from the day, It's the grease from several weeks stuck on top of each other until it becomes that impossible crust. But if you have a well-structured routine, this will never happen in your kitchen. Let's start with the daily routine, those quick little things you do every day without fail. After each meal you prepare, immediately clean the stove and the surfaces you used. Don't leave it for later. Do it right away. Wipe the sink and around it with a damp cloth. Pick up any leftover food that fell on the floor. Clean the cabinet handles. All of this together takes less than 5 minutes, but it makes a huge difference. Once a week, choose a fixed day to do a slightly deeper cleaning. It could be Saturday morning or Sunday afternoon, whichever day works best for you. On that day, in addition to your normal daily cleaning, you'll clean the inside of the microwave, wash the stove grates, clean the outside of the refrigerator, and wipe down the outside of the cabinets. It's a more thorough cleaning, but it doesn't need to be anything extraordinary, just half an hour at most. And once a month, do a big clean. That's when you'll tackle the most difficult places, the ones you can't do every week. Clean on top of the cabinets, behind the stove, inside 1 or 2 cabinets, clean the light fixtures, that kind of thing. You don't need to do it all in one day. You can spread it out over the month. 1 week you clean on top of the cabinets. The next week you do the inside of a cabinet, and so on. The secret to making this routine work is to write everything down. It can be in a notebook, on a calendar, on the kitchen wall, or even on your cell phone if you prefer. The important thing is to have what you need to do visible, because when it's written down, you don't forget and you don't keep putting it off. Check off each task as you do it and feel that pleasant satisfaction of seeing everything marked, everything on schedule. And here's an extra tip for those who live with other people. Divide the chores. You don't have to do everything alone. If there are more people living in the house, each one can have their responsibility. One person can take care of the daily cleaning after dinner, another the weekly deep cleaning, and so on. When everyone helps a little, nobody gets overwhelmed and the kitchen is always spotless. And teach the children from a young age to clean up after themselves. This is good manners and also creates good habits for their whole lives. Tip 10. Natural and homemade products. Now we come to the last tip, which for me is one of the most important of all. I'm talking about using natural and homemade products instead of those industrialized products full of chemicals. Besides being much cheaper, it's better for your health, better for the environment, and believe it or not, it even works better than many expensive products sold out there. Let's start with the king of natural cleaning products, baking soda. This white powder is a true miracle. It removes grease, neutralizes odors, brightens surfaces, and is also mildly abrasive, meaning it helps scrub without scratching. You can use it pure, simply sprinkling it on surfaces and scrubbing with a damp sponge. Or you can make that paste I mentioned earlier, mixing it with a little water. And best of all, a package of baking soda costs next to nothing and lasts for months. Another wonderful product is white vinegar. It's acidic, so it dissolves grease, removes stains, kills bacteria, and leaves everything sparkling. You can use it pure for tough stains, or dilute it half and half with water to make a general cleaning solution. Put it in a spray bottle and use it to clean the stove, countertops, walls, everything. Just don't use it on marble or granite because the acid can damage those stones. But for everything else, it's perfect. Lemon is also excellent for kitchen cleaning. Lemon juice has the same power as vinegar, but it also leaves a pleasant scent. You can cut a lemon in half and use it to scrub stainless steel surfaces, for example. It will shine and smell nice. And what about those cutting boards that smell of garlic or onion? Scrub them with lemon and salt, and the smell will disappear completely. Regular neutral detergent, the cheaper kind, is sufficient for most cleaning tasks. There's no need to buy those expensive special detergents. Normal detergent breaks down grease very well. especially if you use hot water with it. And if you want to make your own homemade detergent, it's super easy. Grate a bar of coconut soap, mix it with hot water and a little baking soda. There you have it, a powerful and natural detergent. And to finish off this tip, let me tell you about the power of steam. If you have one of those home steamers, or even a pressure cooker you no longer use, you can use steam to clean without any chemicals. The hot steam melts grease, kills germs, and even humidifies the air. Just direct the steam at the dirty surface, wait for it to soften, and wipe it with a cloth. It cleans everything effortlessly and without any chemicals. It's the most natural and healthy method there is. Perfect especially for those with allergies or respiratory problems. We've reached the end of our video, and I sincerely hope these 10 rules make all the difference in your cleaning routine. Look, you saw that you don't need any elaborate secrets or expensive, impossible-to-find products. They are simple, practical habits that anyone can do. The real secret lies in consistency and prevention. It's much easier to clean a little every day than to let it accumulate and then have to do a deep clean. Imagine how much better your life will be when you have a clean and fresh-smelling kitchen. You'll be more motivated to cook. You'll receive guests without feeling self-conscious. You'll save money on cleaning products. And most importantly, you'll have much more free time to enjoy doing things you truly like. Because nobody deserves to spend hours scrubbing away old grease, right? So I challenge you to start today. Choose one or two of these rules that you found most interesting and start applying them. You don't need to do everything at once. Take it slow. Incorporate one rule at a time into your routine until it becomes automatic. In a month, you'll look back and won't believe the difference it made. And when you see the results, come back here and tell me in the comments. I love knowing that these tips are really helping you. Before I finish, I want to remind you of something important. If you want to have a clean, organized, and fragrant home without wasting hours of your day or spending money on expensive products, I've prepared a complete guide with simple homemade recipes, a weekly checklist, and professional tricks that really work. The link is in the first pinned comment. It's worth checking out to transform your routine in a practical and economical way. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take advantage now and click that subscribe button. Activate the bell too so you don't miss the next videos with more amazing tips like these. Every week, I bring new content to make your life easier and your home an even better place to live. Thank you for watching this far, and until the next video. A warm hug, and may your kitchen always be impeccable without effort.